Welcome to another Stompy 51 miniature adventure. Today you're in for a real treat. We're going to be looking at a professionally painted Bloodbowl team produced by Tabletop Art, the Dark Valley Wretches, for a Bloodbowl tournament in Dornbirn, a city in Austria that is the largest city in Vorarlberg and the 10th largest city in the country. Who knew? Based on some utterly fantastic artwork and the principle of some local goblin-y thing called a Perchte. With a real focus on culturally appropriate attire, lederhosen, and all, it's got to be the first fusion between goblins and yodeling. And why this has got to be more of a case of Edelschmeiß, a noble shove or smack in the head, than Edelweiss, a noble flower. Now, I haven't got the foggiest about any of this stuff, and so we'll be joined by my mate, Hef. He'll have to explain whatever all that is about, who many of you may know from the Talk Fantasy Football forums, and the man who commissioned all of this. Here's Hef.
Hi, this is Tabletop Art's Underworld team, which they did for the World Cup, Bloodbowl World Cup in 2019. They're a German company, and when I first saw them, I immediately fell in love with them because they're so they're just so full of character. The Underworld, it used to be. It's a combination of Skaven and Goblins, and it used to be the wrong half of a Skaven team bolted to the wrong half of a Goblin team, but it has been comprehensively redesigned and is now, was for a little while, something of a powerhouse because of the way the synergies now work. And the Skaven are these really lovely sort of I don't even know what they are, but they're some sort of Austrian goblin sort of thing, and the goblins are goblins. They've now added snotlings to them, which are these tiny little guys. And I love these, the character in them. I mean, I just love this one here, who's this one. Snotlings with his snotty nose. And of course, one feature is these wonderfully big hats that they've got. And
Is it a chamber pot?
It's not. It's it's some sort of pith helmet, and they're just really sort of full of character, and they're painted by a friend of mine, name of Hugo Darley. I saw them and I realised I couldn't possibly do them justice. So I got him to paint them for me, and they are just stunning. It took him a while, but these are the snotlings who are the new things. This is the thing that this is the gutter runner, and the gutter runner is the guy that made the difference to the whole team, because he's basically a little scoring machine. So him on his own took them from being a team that rarely won to a team that often wins. Time was you could only have a troll. These are the trolls, these two. You could only have one, but you can do the goblins as a goblin team if you buy the a few additional figures, which I've not yet got. But I think these are just, again, they're just very characterful, and one of them is metal and one of them is resin. This one's a metal one, this one's a resin one.
You can feel it. This is about twice as heavy.
About at least twice as heavy. And the other thing that the team got that it didn't used to have is this boy. And this is a rat ogre. The bases, I got the bases from another firm on Etsy called Printed Players. And Hugo, they just arrived looking fairly, like slate bases. and Hugo spent probably as much time doing the bases as he did the figures. No, but it really did it.
Is that Edelweiss sort of picked out on the fellows Lederhosen over there?
They some of them have got Edelweiss picked out on their Lederhosen. The other thing that Underworld can do that Goblins can't do is that you can mutate them. And anybody will tell you that you need a two-headed goblin is the most important goblin that you have.
Why is that?
Because they're able to move more freely. A goblin, they have a rule called stunty, which means they will move anywhere on the same roll, which is normally a 3. But if they've got 2 heads, they do it on a 2. So it basically means your guy can go anywhere. And there's the joke two-headed goblin here, with the guy where Hugo's even managed to get bloodshot eyes on them. It's just...
Why is he a joke one?
Well, because of their second head's coming out of his ear. It's just a...
Oh, I see.
It's a funny looking sort of...
It looks like it's one of the 80s Jim Henson films.
Yeah, and it looks like it's taken half his brain with him. If you look, it's dribbling out the side of the corner of his mouth. It's just sort of earworm. He's got an earworm.
Isn't in German, I think saying you've got an earworm means there's a song stuck in your head.
Yeah.
So maybe it's an in-joke, given that
they're an in-joke, given they're Germans, yes. There's a number of sort of sideline staff for them as well. I've got more goblins.
Let's talk to these Skaven.
Let's talk to these Skaven.
Oh, sorry, they're the same team. It's the other half of the team.
It's the other half of the team, yes. So
bring them closer here.
This is the Blitzer, who there are 2 Blitzers, but there's only one in the current team. So here's the other Blitzer. So you get a choice of which one. I quite like that one.
Look at the shading though on the metallic helmet area. It's not just kind of gold in a wash. It's
no, it's absolutely stunning. And I'm waiting for a nice day before I sort of do anything about putting the number of layers of varnish that you need to put on these.
I wouldn't use any rattle can varnishes on this.
Yeah,
too much can go wrong.
Too much can go wrong, exactly. And these 3 are the linemen. Hugo's favourite lineman is this one. In fact, Hugo's thinks this figure is the best figure that he painted of them all, because everything worked for that one. He reckons, because like all these people, all he looks at is sees the faults. I'm looking really hard and I can't find any.
There are no faults.
There are no faults. There are just,
And so these are linemen.
Those are linemen.
That's not a thrower?
No, that is a thrower. You're right. That's the other lineman. That's the thrower. That's going to be a problem. Throwers have balls.
That's the downside of a beautifully painted, unusual, non-standard team.
Yeah. Originally there were 2 throwers. What he's done is he green stuffed this hood onto this one.
That's green stuff.
That's green stuff. That's a unique figure. Green stuffed it. Because with the hood, he can be a gutter runner.
Oh, I see.
So what he's trying to do is get me a Skaven team as well. So you have this one, you have the one that I showed you initially, and you have this is the star player gutter runner. That's Skitter Stab, who no longer exists.
So what are you going to do?
He's going to be Hackflem instead. Yes, he's lacking an arm and a head, but you know what? That's the way it is.
A rat with multiple knives is a rat with multiple knives.
A rat with multiple knives is knives. And the 4th one would be this, which is Madcap Mix, who's another no longer existing star player. He's a squig.
Do you think they do that on purpose?
I don't know what goes through Games Workshop's head, to be honest. It's just is what it is, isn't it? But in terms of stars, if we're moving on to stars, we've got that one that no longer exists. We've got the gutter runner. This is that's Fat Glart, who's a mole rat. Just.
He seems to be a bit poxed.
Yeah, well, everything's diseased and poxed and underworldy and scuzzy. So.
And he's resin.
He's resin, yeah. This is metal. This one. This is Creek Rust Gouger, who is he basically is a ball and chain, or in this case, a ball and bell.
And you don't want to be hit by that.
You don't want to be hit by that. No. And you've got a bomber.
I like the kind of the exuberant, psychotic joy as he swings the bell.
Oh yeah,
He was born to swing.
He's born to swing. He's full on loon, that one, isn't he? So,
I know, we've already seen him. It's a blind staff.
That's the bomber dribble snot.
With a flaming piece of cheese.
With a flaming piece of cheese, and it's very old cheese as well. It's been.
If you leave it enough, the fumes just do what needs to be done. Yeah. And he's got a little rucksack with more.
It's a wheel of cheese.
A wheel of cheese, yes. This is very culturally appropriate.
Yes, I felt so. And then if you want to play them as goblins, that can be your goblin sort of hooligan.
Oh, I see. Oh, so this is a multi-purpose team. So it can be Skaven.
It can be. You can put them in Skaven, and you can put them as Underworld, and you can you'd need to buy a few figures. You can do them as goblins as well. And this is the this one is the mage if you've got a wizard, and this one is the coach.
He looks very much like a coach.
He looks very much like
the
a
Jurgen
coach.
Klopp of.
Yeah. And there are, and then you've got just a beer swilling fan with a belly to die for.
Is there any game use for a beer swilling fan, or it just looks cute?
It just looks cute. I just use him as an extra goblin, to be honest. If I was, because I've got about 12 goblins, and there's lots and lots of figures. I mean, I've not counted them. Something like 32, 33 figures in all. It's
entirely in keeping with the law that maybe they just grabbed someone from the crowd and said, "Why don't you
come in and join in?
It'll end well for you."
And here's a particular Skaven that I do like. It's quite simple, but he's clearly terrified being where he is.
So he's a conscientious objecting goblin.
Yeah, don't. Why am I here?
Is he the same manufacturer? He looks very different.
He is the same manufacturer. These are the snotlings. So you've got goblins and you've got snotlings.
Oh, he's a snotling.
Yeah. So you see the tiny little snotlings who have the rule that they can swarm onto the pitch. So rather than being 11 people on 11 players on the pitch, you could have up to 14. Those 6 of them would be these, and they die with reckless abandon.
Fantastic. And on the subject of dying with reckless abandon, I think we'll leave it there.
So it's goodbye from me, from Hef, and from Mr. Moleman. Please do like, comment, and if you've watched the end and enjoyed this, there are many more videos to watch to the end and enjoy. So please subscribe, and I hope to see you all around soon. Yodelai, 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 hoo. Thanks.